Wala pa si Bruce. Ayun, nandiyan na si Bruce. Naggalaw na ng baso.
There you go.
Pwede na. We're live.
We're live. Hello, Bruce. Always the first one.
Pag hindi na si Bruce yung first, yun, saka natin malalaman na gumunaw na yung mundo.
Glendale as well. Hello.
What's up, Glendale? So baka nagtataka sila nasan si Ro. He's actually here. He's on the call. May technical difficulties lang. So let's see if he jumps in when the live stream starts. Ano yun? Ano yun, Emil? Ano yung nag-squeak?
Oh, that's my chair. Sorry about that one.
Umupo ka kasi na maayos.
Yes, that's why na-adjust ko lang na onte.
Sarap ng buhay ni Glendale in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching us all the way in Taiwan, man.
Taiwan.
Would you buy the VR of Apple if you had the money? Probably not.
No.
I have had VR goggles. They came with my Huawei phone when I bought one in 2018. And then after using it once, I was like, all right, I'm good. I can die now.
Not a fan of
Okay
the
na ako.
VR thing. Not a fan of the virtual, the glasses. Those are big glasses. So, no.
I can't answer for Ro because, well, he's still encountering technical difficulties, nor Emil because I have no idea how his day went. But I'm fine actually. Kung kailan patapos na yung week, saka pumupuno yung schedule ko, which is fine, I guess. Not too much to complain about.
My day went fine as well, Julian. Kakagising ko nga lang actually, so.
Okay yung hotel TV mo, may classic New Japan. Bruce, I stay cool in the recording booth with the help of an AC. Yun lang naman. Nothing too special. Nagpakabit lang naman ako ng aircon.
Yo.
Otherwise, I will die and melt. Julian, if it's piquing your interest, go buy a ticket and catch the shows live.
Oh.
Don't just rely on what you see on the internet. Di ba taga Metro Manila ka naman? So, catch us live,
No,
man.
I think Julian is from like province near Metro Manila, if I'm not mistaken. Kasi nakausap ko na siya dati regarding this one. Sobrang malayo kami from Metro Manila to see a live show. I think he's outside Metro Manila. And he's still like, what, a student as well.
So, tama ba? Ganun ba? Okay.
Yeah.
If not, then I hope you can save up allowance and try Gank for like a month. Watch the show there. That's where you can really see the good stuff, diba? I mean, it's not enough that you that we just keep it to the vignettes online.
Yes.
Tsaka babawasan ko na rin yung pag-shit post in character. Because it's not a lot of fun. Hello, Ina.
I'd rate it as 8 out of 10. She's asking the yung rating, yung if we're gonna rate the episode last Raw, which was a really good. That was a really good episode.
Bulakenyo pala tong si
Bulacan.
Si
yeah.
There you go. Yun, sabi ni Admin Angelo, sulit ang Gank. Thank you, Admin Angelo, for helping us promote Gank. Sige, 10 seconds. We gotta shut up now.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Welcome to the big time!
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
You know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar.
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles, and you are listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
You're watching and listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Ro Moran, Emil ASH, all checking in on another Thursday. It's time for another live stream. Thank you to everybody who's joining us on Facebook and on YouTube for making us your weekly Thursday habit. For those of you catching us on the audio only, thank you pa rin. And please follow the podcast. Subscribe on YouTube and on Spotify, and give us a follow everywhere from Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere that we're on. Every follow, every 5-star rating goes a long, long way. How's your Thursday, guys? Ro, pagalaw ko naman ng baso. So, parang wala pa.
Wala pa. Yeah.
Hindi siya magandang pangitain. I guess it's gonna be me and Emil holding down the fort while Ro's internet tries its hardest. It's trying, guys. The internet is working hard. We have a lot to talk about, as always. Some good, some not so good. Based on some of your comments, I think we all have the same idea about the not so good. But while Ro is figuring out the technical logistics on his end, Emil here is going to tell you about how you can be part of our growing wrestling podcast patron community, where one of the latest things we're doing is talking about the finals and about AEW Fight Forever.
All right, so if you want to join in on that discussion and to experience the full wrestling podcast, all you got to do is subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/the wrestling podcast, where you can subscribe for as low as $5. So in a local currency, it's around 275 pesos. You already mentioned you can join in our Discord server and interact with us and your fellow podcasts, talking to us about anything and anything under the sun, wrestling, sports, memes, video games, anything that you want to talk to us about. You can do that. And also, we have our pasabais, which the last one just included a couple of months ago. And if you want to be a part of the next one and want to get your authentic wrestling merch, WWE, AEW, or any other wrestling merchandise, you can get it through us. You can also get the review content of the weekly wrestling shows like Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, and soon Collision. And of course, we also have some local wrestling reviews courtesy of Raw and ASH. And by supporting, by subscribing to our Patreon, you're supporting everything that we do here on the pod. So again, please subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/wrestling podcast for as low as $5.
All right, Ro's here, and I could kind of see him moving in real time. Ro, are you good?
You good?
Okay, parang wala pa. So yeah, he'll get there eventually. Kaya natin yan. Unity. All right, let's start off with some not so good news. We saw this on Twitter late last night, right before midnight. The Iron Sheik has passed away. It was announced on his Twitter by his managers, the Magan Bros, Paige and G and Magan, who are apparently his nephews, and are huge fans of the Iron Sheik. He died at the age of 81. And given everything that the Iron Sheik has gone through, both in his career and in his personal life, I'm just glad na he was still able to live a long life. And I think si Shiki was able to find like a second life in his in the limelight, in the spotlight, because of how viral he'd gone, diba? Especially on Twitter, all the shit posting that the Magan brothers were really good at. I recommend you guys to catch the Sheik, or I believe it's called The Sheik, his documentary on Amazon Prime, kung meron kayo. And there's also the A&E documentary, which came out just a few weeks ago. So it's a great insight into the life of the legendary Khosrow Vasily, or the Iron Sheik. You'll get to know about how he was actually a prolific Olympic athlete for Iran before he basically escaped to the US. And the tragedy in his life, he lost his daughter, Marissa, in the late 90s, if I'm not mistaken. and how that exacerbated his problems with substance abuse. So it's a very sad day for wrestling because the Iron Sheik really was a legend who paved the way for representation for people in the Middle East, for Asians as well, because he is Iranian. That's still part of Asia. So I guess you could make a case for the Iron Sheik being one of the first Asian stars in pro wrestling in the U.S. Diba? He was actually a WWE champion right before Hulk Hogan's really long ass reign at the dawn of Hulkamania. So, first Asian WWE champion is nothing to scoff at, even though the Iron Sheik was what you'd call a transitional champion. So, we're gonna miss the Iron Sheik here. Ikaw, Emil, any thoughts that you'd like to get out there?
For someone came from that era, it's you can call his life a successful one kasi umabot siya ng 81 because most of his contemporaries sobrang maagang namatay. Guys like yung mga namatay na like Macho Man, those who died in their 50s and their 40s, no. So the fact that he lived until 81, you can call that a very good life. And then also, I'm gonna miss his viral tweets and his viral videos because honestly, the first exposure I had of the Sheik was watching his shoot videos on YouTube, which made me laugh so many times. And he kept it real. One of the people in wrestling who always kept it real 100%. So plus we also have to acknowledge his contributions to the wrestling business. I mean, he was a WWE champion right before Hulkamania. So one of the best heels, one of the most villainous heels of all time.
Yeah, it kind of helped, I guess, na when the Iron Sheik was in his wrestling heyday, yun din yung towards the end of the Cold War and nag-start na rin yung friction between the US and the Middle East. So naturally, they took advantage of the geopolitical issues and incorporated that into the gimmick of the Iron Sheik. And I guess you could say it was a product of its time because now, these days, we would prefer characters and storylines that don't necessarily rely on stereotypes and geopolitical stuff that could elicit real heat na, could be deadly. But yun yung time ni Iron Sheik. I just want to go back to the Twitter because a lot of us from our generation and the ones who are younger than us really are more exposed to the Iron Sheik through Twitter. And a lot of that is because of his nephews, the Magan Bros, who really saw themselves in the Iron Sheik because kamag-anak nila and he was someone who looked like them, diba? I'm sure you guys know how powerful it is to have that type of representation in a type of pop culture, in a type of media that you enjoy consuming, diba? I would always mark out for Chinoy radio DJs. So what more for these guys who saw someone like them in the Iron Sheik who really carried Iranian representation on the stage of the WWE. So that was one of the reasons why they loved the Iron Sheik and wanted to carry on his brand on Twitter. And they're really the ones behind yung mga outbursts ni Iron Sheik, like when he goes and cusses out Justin Bieber or Hulk Hogan or like whichever celebrity na mapagtripan nila. It's really the Magan Bros. Pero syempre, the voice of that brand, so to speak, really came from the personality of the Iron Sheik himself. So these are the types of stories that I really love finding out. And if you have the opportunity to find yung A&E special on the Iron Sheik or that documentary on Amazon Prime, I do suggest that you go catch it. And I guess konting consuelo na lang din that the A&E special came out while the Iron Sheik was still with us.
No, definitely.
So yeah, I can see you guys in the comments also feeling this loss, huge loss to the wrestling industry as a whole, for sure. So rest in peace, respect the legend forever, the Iron Sheik, man, a real legend, a real one. All right, let's move on to some happy stuff, some good stuff. Thank you, babyface producer Jasper. We now know that I'm guessing this is the presumptive main event for AEW Forbidden Door.
It is official.
Bryan Danielson and Kazuchika Okada will be going one-on-one after Bryan Danielson was shown with a video, with a vignette, at Dominion. So medyo angas yung vignette niya. If you guys caught Dominion over the weekend, na he was in the desert, he was hiking, 'di ba? And then nakatalikod pa siya. And then unti-unti nag-close up sa mga established features ni Bryan, like the long hair and then the beard and then his eyes and his cheekbones, and you're like, holy shit, it's Bryan Danielson. And then he's calling out Kazuchika Okada. So ikaw, Emil, what went through your mind when you saw that this was actually gonna happen in like 3 weeks?
Finally, a dream match na mangyayari na. Hindi na siya dream match. Talagang ano na siya. It will happen in 3 weeks, and I'm very excited about it. I mean, this is someone from before when they were on two separate worlds. All we thought about is what if Bryan Danielson or before Daniel Bryan could go face to face against Okada, what would happen? And now hindi na tayo mag-wonder kasi talagang mangyayari na siya at Forbidden Door. So very an exciting announcement for an exciting match for sure.
Eto, sabi ni Aaron, balikan niya sana si Zack Sabre Jr. after the match. I'm with you there, brother, because we still haven't gotten Bryan versus ZSJ. We were robbed of that match, even though it led to Claudio entering AEW. We were still robbed of the ZSJ match. So I still want that to happen, and I'm really, really hoping nothing happens to Bryan between now and Forbidden Door. Ro, if you're there, feel free to chime in.
Yeah, fuck. I keep forgetting my mic has an off switch. Okay, am I here?
Yes, you are, Roy.
Yes.
Yun. Fuck this. No. Also, I'm also lagging. I don't know why. Yes, it is finally. I agree with all the comments that saying yes, we finally have a dream match. This one is. I think you can't fuck with it because they're not gonna go nonstop like the 4 guys did last year. So this probably isn't gonna main event because you have an MJF match, but stranger things have happened. We got Anarchy in the arena to close the show, no Double or Nothing. So I also wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't protest as well if Danielson Okada close the show because these are 2 former world champions, and you got the literal best in the world versus the best in NJPW at the very least. So okay to, I think this pretty much sold me on the show, even though I probably won't be catching it live. But that's all. If you guys are fans here and you're not just WWE fans, not casual, not that there's anything wrong with being casual, but this is pretty much an internet dream match and should sell the show by itself.
Yeah, speaking of selling the show, we do have a watch party coming up for Forbidden Door. I'm just putting it out there. If you want to join us for the viewing party on the Wrestling Podcast Patreon community, you know where it's at. It's patreon.com/wrestling podcast. Sorry, Emil, go ahead.
I have a question because after this match was announced, I already saw some people on Twitter complaining about how this match was announced randomly and there's no story behind it to so build. So I want to get your guys' opinions about that. Even though we still have weeks before Forbidden Door, but you already got these people complaining na sobrang random and wala daw build yung match na to.
You want to go first, Ro?
This is Forbidden Door. It's not like people need to contextualize. I know I talked shit about Omega versus Vikingo a couple of months ago, but this isn't the same because Forbidden Door has always been a fun crossover party. It's not technically, it shouldn't have been. I mean, it doesn't have to be part of AEW canon, but it still is. And the fact that you are getting storyline implications shouldn't dim the light. Kasi it's a fucking dream pay-per-view crossover thing. It's not supposed to be overthought, diba? Whenever you get stuff like this, you just stick in, you put the action figures together, you stick together who you want to wrestle, diba? So it shouldn't be that big of a deal. It's not like you're trying to tell a story. It's not like Seth Rollins versus Omos, diba? Not super weird. And let's not forget that this literally happened in NXT like half a decade ago when Shinsuke Nakamura suddenly appeared to challenge Sami Zayn. Well, that was a story yun, and they just did that, and everyone accepted it. Everyone went crazy over it. So I don't understand where this is coming from, especially if it's coming from WWE diehards. Diba? So fuck that.
Yeah, I'm with Ro here. I don't think na we have to like read too much into the lack of a story or whatever because it's a crossover show. Who cares? Diba? You've got the best of one promotion going up against the best in another promotion. Just let them cook. In fact, I will go out on a limb and say I appreciate the effort they're taking now to add some more context, some more storyline fodder by having the Blackpool Combat Club just put a beating on the Chaos guys. So diba, that's their way of uh sowing more discord into the Brian Okada thing. Now, oh, Brian is sending a message to Okada by having the BCC beat down the best friends and Rocky Romero, diba? So there's a bit of effort here, and I actually appreciate that. So I don't understand why people are getting all up in arms over Brian just appearing out of nowhere. This literally happens all the time.
Yep, agree with you both on there. So
Ito, question ni Glendale, who do you think will win? Oh, it doesn't matter who wins.
that's yeah.
The fans
either
win,
man can
brother.
win. Yeah, the fans win. Yeah, that's the
Yeah, I
answer,
mean,
Glendale.
literally the fans win. It's
Unless we
AEW
get
home
like a
turf,
60-minute
so I
draw.
wouldn't be surprised if Brian wins. Uh, don't challenge them because both guys have done it regularly. So, um, yeah, anyone can win. Brian can win. Okada can win. None of them are spring chickens anymore. You're not really putting the other one over by beating them. Diba? So, yeah, it goes back to the fans win.
Yeah, doesn't matter. All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll cross over to WWE and we'll make some early Money in the Bank picks. But for now, let's hear a quick word from our other podcasts right here on Podcast Network Asia. All right, let's get over to the WWE side of things and let's talk about the new undisputed WWE Universal Championship. So now that we've seen photos na hiwalay dun sa live shots on SmackDown with the lighting and the reflections kind of messing up the view of the title belt, what do you think of this new design?
But first,
Yeah,
I'm
mute,
gonna
go
be
ahead.
honest. Let's be honest here. Yung people were expecting something different with the design when this was announced, but I don't think the WWE will go away with this current title design because of the marketing. Because of the clout that it brings whenever there's a celebrity or a sports athlete who's gonna wear the belt on their shoulders every time they win a championship. So it's all about the marketing. That's why they're never gonna deviate from this design. But I wish it could have been a different color combination. Yun lang yung medyo nitpicking for me. Something is off about the color combo. Kasi yung gold niya sa interior, parang siya, dark yellow instead of gold. But that's just nitpicking on my part. It would have been better for me. It was the other way around if the exterior was gold and yung interior was black. But it's
Like the
fine.
strap mismo or yung nasa labas lang?
Yung strap, yung
Oh, you
gold,
want
tas
a
sa
gold
loob,
strap. All right.
yeah. Tas sa loob yung black part. So, yun sana. If it was up to me, yun yung gagawin ko. But I think like all other belts, I'm sure I will get used to it naman eventually.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Ro.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I never was a hater of the current WWE Championship design. The only problem it really brought was when they started using it for all of the singles championships, the top singles championships. So it was the same design for the Universal Championship. It was the same design for the women's championships. Diba? So that was the bad part about it. But by itself, it wasn't really bad. I get what Emil is trying to say with the pale yellow color that it looks like on TV. Kasi when you look at the New World Heavyweight Championship, iba talaga yung itsura ng pagka-gold niya. So, I see where that was a strange choice na it doesn't look quite the same as the gold. So it doesn't look that goldish. So it kind of looks more like brass. Like if you've seen a brass instrument, that's what it looks like, diba? I don't hate the color combination either. The gold one is a good choice. I guess the main disappointment then with people was that it was just not a different design. So yeah, they teased a new belt, diba? There was a rumor that there was going to be a new belt, but at the same time, when the rumor was rushed like that, I guess it also wasn't surprising that it wasn't going to be a different design. So maybe they're saving it for another guy, but Emil is right. You don't really change it, especially after it's such a good way to brand your company, your logo by when you give it to the winners of the Super Bowl, when the winners of the NBA playoffs. So it really is good marketing. I can't blame them, but I also do wish then there's a part of me that wishes that they would have updated the design with the same philosophy, the same branding philosophy like they did with the World Heavyweight Championship, having the WWE logo in the middle.
Yeah, eto may tanong si Janelle, what concerns him more daw is the historic lineage of the WWE Championship will now merge with the Universal Championship. I'm looking at the official site at WWE.com. They actually have a title history section. And the WWE Championship and the Universal Championship histories haven't been merged. They have not. I think it's just I think this gold title that Roman Reigns has is just like a physical representation of the two championships. Yun yung pagkakaintindi ko. It could be different.
So,
I'm not speaking on behalf of the company here.
So you're saying that if Roman loses and then by some chance na somebody splits the championships, they would go back to having 2 championships, and by extension, they would go back to having 3 belts.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably.
Based on my logic, I guess. But again, I'm not speaking for the company here. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing on the website, which is that the title histories are still separate from one another. And if you go to Wikipedia, ganun din. Hiwalay pa rin sila. Hindi siya kinondense into one championship and one lineage.
I think
I don't know. I don't think you can mess with that. Like, that's 60 plus years of WWE Championship lineage. You can't mess with that.
I think after Roman loses, saka siya mag-merge. Kasi they are considering the fact that the universal title reign of Roman is 1,000 day plus na. So they don't want to get rid of that lineage. Yun yung ano lang yung theory ko lang as to why there's still 2 separate lineage even though isa na lang yung belt.
I don't think they were merge. I don't think they were separating or eliminating one branch of the lineage, diba? I think it was just gonna be merged. I guess in some concurrent time frame. There was a WWE champion and then there was also a Universal champion until they get to Roman in 2022, diba? So I guess that's it. I don't know how it completely makes sense, but I guess it's some sort of asterisk. But if it's not, if it's merged like that, then I guess that's the most logical way to explain it.
Sa totoo lang, no one has actually answered the question, diba?
Yep.
No one from WWE top brass has answered the question in kayfabe or in real life. So like, wala, lahat tayo we're all grasping at straws and just coming up with our own hypotheses here. So that's where it's at. I just want to point this out, remember day 1, 2022? Day 1, Roman Reigns got COVID, diba? Kaya he wasn't at the show, which is how Brock Lesnar ended up being put in the 5-way and how he ended up winning the WWE Championship, which led to the series of events that culminated in Roman having both championships at WrestleMania 38. if Roman doesn't get COVID before day one, I think we would be in a very different timeline today.
Definitely. Kasi the rumors then was Roman was supposed to lose to Brock at day one. Yun nabasa ko before na. So yeah, that's gonna be so different. Parang butterfly effect siya. It's
It's so weird
ganun.
how that one case of COVID affected so much. Sobrang butterfly effect. It blows my mind actually.
Yeah,
Jeez.
that was a mess. Sorry. Yeah, that is a really that's a canon event if there ever was one.
Ano kaya sasabihin ni Miguel O'Hara about this canon event, no? All right. Any other thoughts on the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, or do you want to move on?
Yeah, we can move on from this one.
Yeah. I
right.
mean, it's just a different colorway, diba? So
Yeah.
let's move on.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the Usos here. And the question coming out of SmackDown is, when will Jey Uso hit his breaking point? Because at this rate, halatang excommunicated na rin si Jimmy, diba? He got the Sami Zayn treatment, and based on what Roman was saying at the very, very end of SmackDown, he seems to believe that Jey will still come around and go back to the bloodline. But Jay's body language, his facial expressions kind of hint differently. And given that Roman is booked to be at Money in the Bank and at SummerSlam, it looks like either you get the tag team match at Money in the Bank and you get Jey Uso challenging at SummerSlam. So I guess yung pinaka question ko is like, what's it gonna take to break Jey?
For me, the way I'm seeing it, the way I'm seeing it is that we're gonna get a singles match between Roman and Jimmy. And remember the finish from Clash of Champions 2020 where Jimmy came out. He has a towel in hand. So parang ganun, pero in reverse. Si Jey ngayon yung papasok, and then he's gonna see Roman beating Jimmy, and he's parang ano siya, PTSD, pero he will finally snap because it's his brother now who's getting beat up by Roman. So
but his brother just hit his other brother with a Samoan spike. It literally
Yes.
just happened in front of him.
Pero iba kasi pag kay Roman kasi it's PTSD for Jey kasi he went through the same thing.
Ikaw, Ro.
Yeah. No, actually, I thought I don't understand why they're still teasing that Roman is okay with Jey but not with Jimmy. Because last I checked, they both hit him with a super kick. So I don't understand why he's not mad at Jey. Is it because si Jimmy yung consentidor, yung may pakulo ng turn na to? But it doesn't make sense that way because you already hit him. Diba? You already hit him, even though Jimmy was the guy the brother who was acting up. You can't say that he only convinced him or he was only convinced to turn on Roman, diba? So as far as I'm concerned, if I were Roman Reigns, they're both excommunicated. So I don't see the need for him to still be playing these mind games on Jey and Jimmy. Kasi it already happened in front of me. So that's weird to me. But which is why this story is kind of taking a little bit of a weird turn, because I don't see the need for Stockholm syndrome here. Eto na tayo eh. Let's just proceed with the Usos versus Roman and Solo, diba? So there's no more need for that. We all know it's headed there anyway, diba? Why are we wasting time pretending that Roman is still okay with Jey? So yun lang. It kind of makes Jey seem a little dumber than he should be. He was already, kind of that way because he was feeling the loyalty for Roman, but I feel like he was already convinced but he was already talked into standing up for themselves by Jey. So I don't know why you had to take that one or two steps back.
Edo, what do you guys think of Solo? Because Emil and I, we kind of brushed over this nung Picks of the Week episode. But what do you think of how Solo's motivations lined up here, where he said na these are my brothers, but also he recognizes na yung pera ko, yung kabuhayan ko nandito sa tribal chief. So I've got to stick with the guy who literally puts food on the table.
Oh,
No, yeah, it makes sense. I think.
Yeah, makes sense then.
Yeah, if the money if it's really because the tribal chief puts food in his table on his table, then yeah, I can buy it. Sure. I think what Jimmy said to Solo was right. Because Solo isn't where the Usos are. Diba? Jimmy had to say, when he's done with you, he'll abuse you, diba? And drop you. Diba? That means that Solo hasn't been there in that at that point where Roman is gonna discard him. So he doesn't know that yet. So he's gonna eventually find out the way Batista did, but that time is not yet now.
Saka Solo's character, he's a mercenary, he's an enforcer. So kung sino yung magbabayad sa kanya ng malaking pera to do his thing, that's where his loyalty is at.
Yeah. Eto sabi ni Aaron, di ba nga in kayfabe, Solo grew up in the streets.
Why did Rikishi kick him out?
Tanungin natin when he lands in Manila.
Okay.
If you know, you know. Why'd you do that to Solo? What did he ever do to you?
Dapat kasama sa deal, we should get him on the show.
Yeah, actually. Right. Let's not talk about behind the scenes shit here on the live stream. Moving on. Braun Breaker on NXT at the very end of the episode openly challenged Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. So I don't know if this is going to be the prelude to his call-up, but this is interesting. It's fresh. It's nice to see Braun going after the other big fish if he can't beat Carmelo Hayes. So what do you think of this development in Braun Breaker's journey so far?
Oh, sige, Emil, go.
This honestly reminds me of yung mga old Cena US title challenges where NXT guys would come up and face him for the US title and make their main roster debut. So this just might be yung tulay sa pag-call up kay Braun Breaker. So this is his first main roster program, and challenging Seth for the World Heavyweight title isn't that bad. Isn't that bad for main roster debut or first program. And kung bibisita si Seth sa NXT, that would be awesome because that Seth was the first NXT champion, so it will be kind of a homecoming then.
It depends on the way I see it. It depends on how this match and where this match is going to take place. Because if it takes place on Raw next week, which I don't think it will because Seth is in the middle of a story with the Judgment Day, it might mean a call-up for Braun Breaker. But if Seth moves down to NXT for this match, then it pretty much would just be a ratings grab for NXT. Diba? I don't know what ano bang kalaban nila? NBA Finals kalaban nila on Tuesday, diba? So
no, that's Raw.
Diba?
Raw ang kalaban nila.
Oh yeah. Right. So well, you're not gonna put Seth versus Braun against the NBA Finals, diba? So I think this is a ratings grab for NXT, and maybe just a little test to see if Braun can do a little more magic with a better main roster guy, because the last one he did was Apollo Crews and then see Dolph Ziggler, diba? So I think this is just them continuing to test him because I don't think they want to let go of heel Braun just yet on NXT. I think there is still stuff for him to do, and I think there is still a way to build his newfound heel character.
Is it a good idea, though, to have Seth go to NXT and just have this one match or have this mini program with Braun as a side quest?
I mean, yeah.
Why not?
Kasi
if he wants to be a fighting champion, diba? So
yeah.
All right. Let's move on here to early picks for Money in the Bank. So coming out of Raw, alam na natin na we have 3 out of the 6 Mr. Money in the Bank participants and 3 out of the 6 Miss Money in the Bank participants. So based on the field, or if there's anyone who's not yet included in the field or in the qualifying matches that you think will be this year's Money in the Bank holders, who do you think it'll be?
Sabi ni Ray, Mrs. Money in the Bank daw.
Oo nga pala. Sabi ni Ray.
Well, it's too early. But you know, if we're listening to rumors, then LA Knight's gonna win Mr. Money in the Bank. I think it's them not denying LA Knight as well. Parang the whole thing where he didn't really have a nice couple of months after WrestleMania was a red herring. Um, I think this is where he's gonna do his big moment. I think deserving man. I think I'm not the biggest LA Knight fan, but he did get over, and you do have to reward someone from getting over, especially when you're always in need of new faces in this bloated roster, diba? So I wouldn't bet against LA Knight. As for the women, I don't know yet. It's tough to call without seeing the full field. I don't want Becky to win Miss Money in the Bank. We've already been there. We've already been to her as women's champion, diba? So I don't need that.
Mhm.
For
Ikaw,
me,
Emil.
for the men's Money in the Bank, my answer is Mr. LA Knight. Yeah. Again, he's so over, and I'm so ready for a main event push for LA Knight. I mean, it's time. It's time then. And he had a weird couple of months after WrestleMania, so I think he's due now for a big time push. So this should get him that by winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. For the women's side, if she is competing in the ladder match, because I think still not clear whether or not she's challenging Asuka for the women's championship, or is she gonna compete in the ladder match. But if she competes here, I am going with Io Sky.
Yeah, she's
Uh,
probably competing in the ladder match because she's
yeah,
in a
so
qualifying match for SmackDown.
okay, so that's so Io Sky or Zoe Stark. You know, why not? Why not give the Money in the Bank to someone who's a really good up and comer? So those
Okay,
two are my picks.
sige. Going back to LA Knight here, he's on SmackDown. So if he wins Money in the Bank, ano yun? Is he gonna go after Roman? Or is he gonna take a shot at Seth?
I mean, di naman na it has happened before where someone from the other brand wins Money in the Bank, and then they go to the other brand and cash in on their champion. Like maraming beses na nangyari yan. So probably that's gonna happen kung ganon.
I think the World Heavyweight Championship is what the World Heavyweight Championship was 10 years ago. Now, sometimes it's a trial world title for the new kids, about the new main eventers. But that was the first world title that Daniel Bryan won. That was the first world title that Jack Swagger won. Diba? So because it's the B World Championship, it's okay to kind of test these guys out. So I think it's not a bad idea to do that, especially when you have someone as big as Roman on the other side of the card, diba? So I think if I were booking LA Knight's rice, I would just give it to him just to say that we gave him a world championship without really sacrificing anyone to do it.
Mm-hmm. Eto, good point raised by Admin Angelo na the briefcase isn't actually just for the world titles anymore. Kasi diba, I think it was Riddle who said na he would be willing to go after Gunther or last year, diba si Theory, he used it for a US championship match.
Yeah, that's true as well. So maybe if not the world title, maybe the IC title.
I don't want that to happen. Like I'm of the belief that the Money in the Bank should be for the World Championship. Like,
Yeah.
what's the point, diba? What's the point of putting your body through hell if you're not gonna use it for a World Championship match anywhere, anytime, any place?
I think last year they
Tsaka-
just cashed in on the US title because they can't have Roman losing.
Exactly. That's exactly why. That's why I said that now that you have another world championship, that doesn't necessarily need to be super protected. Yun na yun. Yun nga, the only reason why Theory cashed in on the US championship was in kayfabe, he wasn't getting the shot because somebody was interrupting him. And then in real life, yun nga, you did have to protect Roman. And then are you really going to feed Roman to motherfucking Austin Theory? So that was the only reason why that had to happen.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this year we get to maintain the spirit of Money in the Bank. And I wouldn't be opposed to LA Knight beating Seth Rollins here. Seth has done what he has said he will do with the World Heavyweight Championship, and then moving LA Knight to Raw, where he can be, I don't know, 2023's version of The Rock. Sure, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yun din naman yung yun din naman ang gusto ng mga tao, di ba? Give the people what they want.
Yeah.
All right. We're taking another break. When we come back, we'll talk about the highlights from Dynamite, and I think we can squeeze in some NXT talk here. But first, another word from our podcasts right here on Podcast Network Asia. All right, time for us to talk about Dynamite. We'll start with Orange Cassidy because every Dynamite episode apparently now starts with an Orange Cassidy AEW International Championship defense. So how much is too much for this very long title run and all these defenses? Orange Cassidy has like 4 times or 5 times the amount of defenses as MJF. He's got 24 title defenses.
Okay, I'll start. No,
yeah.
I'll start. Here's the thing. I don't really hate Orange Cassidy's championship run. No. There's nothing about it to hate, really. The guy is great. He is literally the low-key MVP of AEW at the point. At this moment, diba? Kasi he's just that good. You stick him in a match, give him 15 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes, and he will make the most out of it. That's how good he is. But the thing to really dislike about this is that at some point you do have to give it up, diba? One, the guy's body is breaking down. Putting all these bangers out is not something that you just don't recover from in 1 week, diba? Tapos may house shows pa yan over the weekend. So he is borrowing from the bank of his health, his muscles, his bones, and eventually the bank will foreclose, diba? Second, there are guys that do need to be elevated. So this is the Roman Reigns problem. Protecting him for too long because he's that good kind of sacrifices the chances that other people did deserve to get. So when you have a Cody Rhodes, you have someone like a Swerve Strickland who very much was ready to win the championship today, diba? And nung Double or Nothing when they did the Battle Royal. So sobrang sayang lang because one, it's clear that Tony Khan is hitching his wagon all the way to Orange Cassidy because he can't really hitch his wagon so much to MJF, diba? Because MJF isn't going to wrestle every week lights out the way Orange Cassidy does. So but I feel like that's a lack of trust in the other guys on his roster. Like Swerve already proved that he can go, diba? He can go as long as you tell him to go wherever you need him to go. He can do the same thing. I probably bet he can do the same thing that Orange Cassidy does every week if you really wanted him to do every week. But I don't suggest that. So I feel like it's gonna blow up in Tony Khan's face in the worst way. So what I really wanted was for them to make the change as early as possible without, having to fuck around and find out, diba? So, yun lang naman. I wish I didn't have to call for this because I really love it. Orange Cassidy really is one of the best parts of the show every week. But sometimes, too much can be too much.
Yeah, also agree. I really thought Swerve Strickland was gonna be the one to beat Orange Cassidy for the title because he came so close nung Double or Nothing, and again he came so close here today on Dynamite. So I don't know. Honestly, no foresee ko na he's gonna relinquish the title when he gets injured. At the pace he's going, hindi malabong mangyari na he gets injured one of these title defenses. So yun.
All right.
Not wishing
I just hope he
an
doesn't get
injury,
injured.
yeah. Yeah, not
Yeah,
wishing
yeah.
an injury. Yeah.
No injuries, please.
Yeah.
We've had too many guys who have been on a good run tapos mauudlot lang because of an injury. So I just really hope na Orange Cassidy gets to keep taking care of himself and that he gets a bit of a break here because he kind of does deserve it. 24 title defenses since he's won the international championship is no joke. So, here's to hoping na his health maintains itself in tip-top shape. Right, last couple of topics here. Let's talk about Adam Cole, baby. He has stepped up as the new number one contender to MJF's AEW World Championship, and they had like a 15-minute segment where they just went at it. They referenced so many things from the dirt sheets and from each other's careers, like MJF with another villain origin story here, talking about how he was following Adam Cole's career through Ring of Honor and CZW, even NXT. Now, to be fair, there was a bit of truth to that kasi someone backread through MJF's Instagram and found na idol nga niya talaga si Adam Cole. So, okay, let's give him this. But then...
Jesus Christ. Is there anyone that, he didn't like? How many origin stories can you have?
Sobrang dami yung villain origin
CM
stories.
Punk, and then si Adam
Cole.
Oh my
God.
But yeah, this just adds another chapter to the MJF villain origin story.
Props to him for being a real fan, though. So I guess that's what you can say about MJF. But it's ridiculous that he has a story for everyone that he faces. I don't know if
at least my effort, diba?
Yeah, I know, but I don't. It's funny because he already referenced this before, diba? When he did the Bryan thing that he has so many origin stories. Ano ba? Do you want me to like this guy? Do you want me to like MJF? Or
No. He does it in a way and he builds up the opponent, then he eviscerates them verbally right afterward.
But imagine if everyone had an origin story. Yun yung pinaka-basis ng feuds nila. Which is, sometimes you just, tell a story that's completely unrelated to who you are. So, I don't know. I don't know. I actually don't know what I feel about so many origin stories. So yes, for one thing, it does, it does pull into a deep history, a deep personal history. But at the same time, you find it, you can find it overused because it could be overused because it loses.
It's a meme now with MJF.
It loses its specialness. So.
Okay, I get you there. When he did the whole sandwich in the structure of the promo battle, diba? He built up Adam Cole only to tear him down, and then he referenced things like Adam Cole's physique, his health issues, Britt Baker, and then the rumors about Vince McMahon reportedly not seeing Adam Cole as main event or main roster level talent, and then even the rumors surrounding Adam Cole supposedly being Keith Lee's manager upon his call up to the main roster. So what do you think about this? Kasi si Adam Cole may banat din naman siya. Pero let's focus on MJF's first. Kasi yun yung pinag-uusapan ng mga tao on Twitter.
Man, I don't know. Dati pa naman kasi itong problem. I mean, some might call it a problem. Some might call it a feature of AEW. But the thing with AEW really is that if you know, and then if you don't, then sorry gonna lang. You have to research yourself. Diba? At some point, I had to accept it for what it is. Kasi if they really want to be gatekeepy about all of this, then fine, whatever. Sige, more power to you, diba? I guess I can say from as a fan, from the standpoint of a fan that knows what he's talking about the things that MJF is talking about, then okay, it's cool. You're not really going after the casual fan who doesn't read the dirt sheets. So in that context, then okay, well done guys. You have hooked your target audience in. So no problems with that. Yun nga, if they're not gonna target the casuals, then wala na tayong magagawa.
I will say though that the inside joke thing, while alienating, at least it appeals to a wider base audience as opposed to what we saw in the company we used to work for, where it was really inside jokey, na talagang you had to dig into
Yeah.
people's fucking Facebooks and personal lives and all the chismes in the locker room. And I'm telling all of you guys in the live stream na totoo to, like this actually happened. And
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
really the worst, diba? Of everything. So parang I will give MJF and whoever wrote the promo a bit of credit here na at least kahit papano, you can still be like, oh, okay, so yun pala why Adam Cole left WWE or whatever, right? As opposed to like, hindi kasi crush kita talaga eh. Or, you know what I mean? Parang sobrang bobo talaga.
No, to be fair naman kasi, the major leagues, right? The major leagues of pro wrestling are subject to the kind of tab dirt sheet journalism that is present in the industry. So a lot of people would know that, diba? So built in na yun sa level of the company that that they are at in the industry, diba? So I have a feeling that because I did the grapevine for Mark Henry, that if I reported on dirt that I knew of personally in the local scene, then I'm sure a lot more fans would know, diba? Na nag-aaway ng ganito sa ganyan, nagsuntukan sila sa locker room sa Fit Plus, diba? If
Which
I
happened, by the
reported
way.
on that, yeah, if I reported on that and then they made reference to it, then they would also know. The crowd would also know what they would talk about when they make reference to that inside stuff. So it's really just a feature na if AEW wasn't as big as it is rather, then it would have fallen just as flat as inside jokes in the local scene would have.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Ikaw, Emil, what's your take on this? Because you're a newer fan, you're younger, so you might have a different perspective.
Again, this is my main problem with MJF. For me, he's sometimes too meta. Pero that's nitpicking for me. That's
Pero hindi siya
nitpicking.
part ng metaphor.
No, it's
Pero
not nitpicking.
ano,
That is not a nit to pick. That's legit. Kasi that is a fair criticism on the actual kind of material that he's presenting.
Yeah.
So that's not just nitpicking. That's a valid criticism from you.
And ang nakakainis kasi dito, because I know MJF can be better than the low hanging fruits. So we have seen it before before he was champion, like before he started feuding with his heroes na naging villain origin stories niya. So that's why actually I like yung his feud with the Four Pillars kasi at least he doesn't need to resort to yung mga villain origin stories niya. So now he's
he still did with Jungle Boy, diba? You and I.
Yeah, they did.
Or whatever.
Yeah, pero
Yeah,
not yung extent
because
na ganito.
No, because there were 4 people in the feud, diba? So
yeah,
that's why he couldn't, hog the promo time with his own origin stories. But Stan is right; he did touch on them because that is what he does. Because his gimmick is really smart Mark wrestling fan who suddenly ended up becoming the champion in the number 2 promotion in the world.
Yeah, you know what? Exactly. That's basically my number one criticism about this guy, and I wish he could have divulged into newer material because I know he can. He's one of the best in terms of promos. He's the best in terms of building up a feud. So, yun lang yung ko talaga. Problema ko sa kanya.
Okay.
What did you think of MJF's spot shot, or Adam Cole's spot shot na nagro-roids daw si MJF?
All right. As the fitness expert among the 3 of us, that's not true because MJF looks nothing like Ultimate Warrior or Hulk Hogan. Diba? This is a guy who just diets properly and lifts properly. It kind of goes to it. Adam Cole was playing to a wide subsection of fans who don't really know what roided would look like between a roided person and someone who's natty, diba? So it's a pot shot for the sake of a pot shot, but obviously it's not true because MJF looks pretty lean and not juiced the fuck up.
Yeah, that was kind of weird nung sinabi niya. I'm like, MJF's probably one of the last people na sasabihan ko na mukhang nagro-roids. You know what I mean?
And
There are
I'm
other
sure
people.
sinabi lang niya yun kasi he got hurt by MJF calling him thin, diba?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I have a question. Pala.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
foresee
sure.
this as a long-term feud, or is Adam Cole gonna go back to feuding with the JS? Because I
No, I
don't
think
think
this is
that
it.
story it is okay. Got it.
Baka ito na hanggang all
Uh,
in. Unless
I
Pac
wouldn't
comes
mind.
back or some British guy comes back
Yeah.
to challenge
I
MJF.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind actually. I think the biglang kabig. I think no, I think that the main event from last week was it, diba? I think that was the end of that feud, diba? So uh I think it's time for them to move on. I think Tony Khan pulled the plug then when he can. That's at least one thing that he did right when it comes to the story, if it wasn't planned that way. Diba? So I think it's safe to say that the slightly insufferable feud between the Coles and the Jericho Appreciation Society is done.
Yeah, I know. If you're playing GM mode, start new story.
Uh,
Start new 12-week story. All right, let's talk about some NXT here since we have a little bit of time. Thea Hale, congratulations to her. She's the new number one contender after she pulled a Santino Marella and won the number one contenders battle royal for the NXT Women's Championship. I thought this was pretty refreshing. It was nice to see Thea Hale get an opportunity like this because Chase U is over, and I actually really do miss Andre Chase. And there's a nice wrinkle na medyo may edge na tong si Thea Hale as a result of her being trained by Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey. So I dig it. It's something refreshing here.
Yeah. She's very young. She's a very
yeah.
young competitor,
Sorry, go ahead.
and not actually a bad first challenger for Tiffany. Because of course Tiffany's not gonna lose her first feud or her first match, first defense as a women's champion. So you want someone who's on the who's on the rise, but could also afford to take a loss kasi hindi pa sila dun sa level na yun. So the AL is a perfect first challenger for Tiffany.
Yeah, I agree. I think the thing of NXT right now is they're always trying new stuff. They're always trying new people. So I like this as someone who doesn't like, the same things happening for too long. I don't know how ready as a wrestler Thea Hale is, but she's not bad. But like
Yeah.
a lot of these guys, because the ones you see regularly on NXT, they're not really there because I mean, if they're not good, diba? That's at least a merit based thing that they do with that brand. So yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's gonna be okay. Maybe she'll do fine. Maybe she won't. Either way, the important thing is that they tried.
Yeah. I was surprised that they didn't go for Fallon Henley. I thought it was about time for Fallon Henley to have a singles feud for the women's championship. I also thought na, oh wow, they're really gonna delay Gigi Dolin's rise to the top here. Kasi parang siya yung gino-groom, diba, to be the next big baby face in the women's division. So to see her get eliminated pretty early on, like as we just reached the midway point of the Battle Royal, nagulat ako. So I think they're denying Gigi until the clamor is really there now for people to go ape shit once she, wins whatever match to become number one contender, like an Iron Survivor match or some shit.
Yeah, that was super weird. I was watching the weaponized steel cage match, and it was so good. Gigi was really good in that role, so I don't know why they're not pulling the trigger yet. I feel like may konting politics thing behind the scenes. I can't speak to that for sure, but if someone is undeniable, then they're undeniable, and I think that it's not fair for Gigi then to stay held down for that long, especially when a lot of your top girls have left. Whether it's Zoe Stark, whether it's Indy Hartwell. So why not, one of the more tenured women on the roster in the division?
Yeah. Ikaw, Emil.
Not having Gigi challenge yet is fine. Kasi like I said earlier, bago pa lang yung Rainy Tiffany, and you want someone, I already said earlier na is on a rise, pero could also afford to take a loss. And Gigi, as of this moment, if she challenges for the title, I don't think she can afford a loss because you're banking on her being as one of the most over people in the women's division eventually. So I'm okay with it.
All right. Let us know what you think about everything we've talked about. You know where to find us, right? It is at Wrestling2X Pod on Twitter and on TikTok. Walang audio-only version for this week's episode just because it wasn't a terribly huge week in terms of news and highlights. But if there's anything you want to chit-chat with us about, hit us up on the show's Twitter account or TikTok account, or you can hit us up as well individually. It is at Monday Night Rowan, at EML_Meister, at Chino Supersized, at Rowisbar, and at _Stan C. All right, let's get some plugs here. Let's start off with you, Emil. Ngayon ko lang nalaman na you were actually featured on Inside the NBA. So good for you.
Yes, that was 2 years ago. They had a contest where they would fans would submit pictures and they would get featured. So if you know the gone fishing segment, when teams get eliminated, so I the
You're
day
on the
before,
Lakers cruise. What the fuck?
the day before I tweeted that, just chansa because I know the Lakers were nanganganib na sila noon. That was 2 years ago. This was against the Suns. So nanganganib na sila noon. And then that morning, actually someone from the Twitter page messaged me and said if the Lakers lose today, I'm gonna appear on Inside, and I did. So that was and I got roasted by Charles Barkley.
Because you kind of look silly in the picture.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going for. You look silly, you get roasted, you get that's a badge of honor to be roasted by Charles Barkley. So that's if you notice on my Facebook page, yun yung nakalagay sa bio ko. Like, I got roasted by Charles Barkley on Inside the NBA. So
that's your big claim to fame.
Yeah, that's right now.
Wait,
and then also
who's got the better claim to fame, Emil or si Rowan? Di ba si Rowan may ganitong story din?
Sino nag-roast sa kanya?
I forgot, but he has ganito rin, like something silly as a claim to fame in his bio. So.
But yeah, it's Charles Barkley. Like, he's a legend. So it's an honor to get roasted by Chuck. So.
How do you feel about them calling you Emil Nate?
Yeah, that's okay din kasi yung last name ko naman talaga eh. Like wala na even sa work ganun din because I work with US clients. Ganun din. So wala na akong magagawa. I just let it be.
Awkward na yung ano eh. Iko-correct mo pa sila.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
so if you want to see Emil shit posting about the NBA Finals, ano ka ba? Nuggets ka ba o Heat?
I'm actually neutral. Pero I'm leaning towards the Nuggets kasi I'm a Spurs fan as well, so they remind me of the Spurs. So.
All right, so go give Emil a follow and go shit talk the Nuggets with Emil here.
Yeah.
All right, Ro, any plugs?
Yes, sir. As you guys know, I announced last week that I will be debuting a new podcast, Unmask the Chronicles of Romaran Sandata. It's going to talk about my career so far over the past 8 years in the Philippine wrestling industry and the surrounding regions. So that's going to officially premiere with the first episode next week. That's June 14th. But I will be dropping a teaser snippet of the first episode by tomorrow. So by then you can follow and subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and then you can listen to the preview of what you'll be getting, the kind of conversations I will be having with my co-host ABL Anselmo, formerly of Wrestling After Work. So please stay tuned for that. I will be dropping when it's officially up. I will be dropping it on social media. I'll be posting about it on social media. So stay tuned na kayo. And syempre, if you want to support local wrestling, we just did a show last Sunday. It's called Lights Camera Action, the latest or the newest or this month's special for Action Novela TV. It's available by subscribing to our Gank, the Manila Wrestling Federation Gank profile. You can just go to it by going to manilaWrestling.com. It is $10 or around 600 something pesos in gold coins on the Gank platform. You can pay via credit card, debit card, Gcash. So a lot of different ways to support the local wrestling scene. So if you can, please, if you're able to, please do support us, because a lot of hardworking boys and girls have been pouring their efforts into making something consistent for the local wrestling scene. And syempre, TikTok at Wrestling2X Pod. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Find us at the Wrestling Podcast. Medyo mahirap pala yung SEO nun because I use two common words. But we are there and we are posting, special exclusive social media content from our interview with the one and only Cash Money Carlo Cannon, and we'll be doing that for our future interviews as well. So please follow us on all the socials so you can get exclusive content from our other content.
Yeah, go check out the Carlo Cannon interview. We're really proud of that one. He's become fast friends with us here on the podcast. Very, very generous. And thanks to him, we actually have an interview that we're doing on Monday that we can't wait to share with you. Ito, my second clue ba tayo for the listeners who are still here?
I'll think of it. Right. I mean, I like the clue I gave.
Yeah, we're gonna be unmasking
Not
someone.
me.
We're gonna go like
Not
this.
Not me.
Yeah, not Ro, but we're gonna unmask someone else like that. So,
Oh no,
yeah,
I know. I have one
that's
clue. I have one clue. I have another clue. We will be going across the pond for this interview.
Okay, I get it. All right, so go check that out once that drops next week. Please listen to the Pick of the Week specials as well, and drop in your picks of the week. We'll catch you with next week. 2 episodes that we're going to drop, and our weekly Thursday live stream here on Facebook and on YouTube at 7 p.m. Thank you so much to everybody who's listened, followed, streamed, shared the podcast. It really does a lot for the algorithm and for us. And thank you, as always, to Babyface producer Jasper and everyone over at Podcast Network Asia for all of the work that they do behind the scenes. Right here, we'll catch you again next week. On behalf of Emil ASH and Ro Moran, my name is Stan C, saying stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast out. Bye-bye.
Peace.